Welcome to the Cherries TV. Welcome to the Cherries TV. My name is Abby and I'm a fragrance lover. I love anything that smells, feels, and smells good. Happy New Year! This is the first video of the year, guys. Happy New Year. I hope you guys had an amazing New Year. So guys, by the title of this video, you already know what's about to get down. If you are new here, my name is Abby and on this channel we talk about fragrances. Anything that has to do with fragrances, we talk about it, okay? It's the new year, so this video is going to be a little long. So go ahead and grab your glass of wine or your apple juice or your orange juice, depending on the time that you're watching this, and grab your popcorn, your sandwich, your breakfast, your dinner, and let's get into it because this one's going to be a long one. All right, guys, so we're going to do 21 fragrances for the year of 21. These 21 fragrances all have some type of memory to them, some type of vibe, or a specific day that I wore them. They're in no particular order, but I'm gonna just let you guys know exactly how I feel about each one of the fragrances. It's some of them that you guys know already, some of them I don't know, but we're just gonna go right into it. So the first fragrance is from the house of Prada. Now this one is Prada La Femme. Whenever I think about this fragrance, throughout the whole 2021, I was picking it up and wearing it. Whenever I had something to do, I just picked it up and wore it. Now I have a lot of easy reaches, but this one became my easy reach for everything. I'm not sure why I was drawn to this one so much, but it was my easy reach whenever I needed to do something. The next fragrance is one from the house of ESENTRIC molecules, and it is Molecule 01. Now, Molecule 01 is one of the fragrances that was the first niche fragrance in my collection. This fragrance reminds me of someone that I admire here in the fragrance community, which is Tiff Vincent. Anybody that knows me on a personal level know that I follow her and I want to be like her when I grow up, right? You know, like in every aspect or career that you're in, there's always someone that you're looking up to as far as role model. Like when it comes to makeup, there's someone that I look up to. When it comes to fragrances, Tiff Vincent and her content creating and the way she create her content, that's who I look up to. This fragrance allowed me to get up on here on YouTube and decided to start this journey with you guys. So I've worn it a lot of times, and every single time I've worn it throughout 2021, that's the first thing I think about. Wow, my journey here on YouTube. Oud Bouquet by MAISON LANCONE. This one, every single time I wore this one, it just reminded me of a sexy, fun Abby. Like there's times where I was down during 2021, whenever I would wear this or I would spray this on me, because you know it's a heavy hitter, so it's very tough and you can't really wear it during the hot heat here in Florida. But every time I wore this, it reminded me of last year, how it was cold and how I fell in love with this fragrance, and it gave me memories of me and my husband, because I wore this a lot during the winter time last year, and we just had amazing memories. The next one is one that gave me happy memories. I love it, and I felt like this was the only fragrance that could have given me this vibe and this feeling, and it is from the house of Chanel, and it is Chanel Chance EDP, the original. Now, whenever I smell this fragrance, the only thing I can remember is the journey to the wedding. This is the fragrance that I wore when we were looking for the venue. This is the fragrance that I wore when we picked the venue. This is the fragrance that I wore when we were going picking out the food, the cake, every single thing that had to do with wedding, and I was with my husband. This is what I wore, at least, because I wanted to feel very classy and elegant, and I don't know what it was, but I felt like anything that I had to do with the wedding, looking for my dress, anything, I had to wear a Chanel, because it's just, who wouldn't wear Chanel, you know? So whenever I think about this, I think about the journey leading up to my wedding. This next one is one that was super comforting for me. This one is from the house of Van Cleef and Arpels, and it is Orchidee Vanille. Now, Orchidee Vanille is one that I wore going to bed a lot in 2020, and it was also my first vanilla purchase, like niche vanilla purchase. And every single time I wear this, and I spray it on me, it reminds me of how this fragrance made me fall in love with vanilla. Now, I definitely have a lot of other vanillas, but me, I was never a vanilla person. I was always florals, and deep and sexy fragrances, like spicy, incensey. And when I sprayed this one on, I mean, all the other fragrances I always had vanilla in them, but for some reason, this was the first vanilla based fragrance. And when I tell you, this put me in that vanilla rabbit hole. So every single time I smell this reminds me of my first vanilla fragrance in my collection that I added, like solely vanilla or heavenly vanilla fragrance. The next one is one from the house of Mugler, and it is Angel Nova. Now, Angel Nova has its place is because every single time I spray this, I remember my mom. Me and my mom, we had like a grown up talk, like, listen, Mom, I'm grown now. I'm not the baby girl anymore. I can take care of myself type of talk. And it turned out really good. And anyone that knows Haitian parents, because I'm Haitian, know that usually those talks never come out good. It's either y'all never have that talk, or you know, it just turns out to like a fight or something, because Haitian parents, they're never wrong and you're always gonna be a baby. But my mom understood that it was time for me to step into my life and step into my role as a wife. And we had that conversation, we ate, we had a good time, and this is the fragrance that I was wearing. And every single time I wear this fragrance, even if somebody else wears it, it takes me back to that memory. The next fragrance is one that I adore, and it's from the house of MANCERA, and it is MANCERA's Roses Vanille. Okay, y'all, so this fragrance was the start of my rose obsession. I did have another rose fragrance before this, but when I tell you, this was the one that started the rose obsession. The moment I smelled this, I was like, okay, yeah, I am in love with rose, and I have to have any and every single rose fragrance on the planet. Now, that's not realistic. I don't, but I do have a lot of rose fragrances. And Roses Vanille is one that I've worn to bed, I've worn out, I've worn on dates, I've worn on brunches, I've worn on dinner dates, I've worn to performances. It's very versatile, and every single time I wear it, I get a lot of good compliments. It just reminds me of the freeness, and it reminds me of when the world was opening back, and this was the one that I really, really wanted to wear outside of all the fragrances. I wanted people to know that, hey, I love rose, and you are gonna like it too if you smell it. And this was just that vibe for me, and it's gonna always remind me of the love I have for rose. The next fragrance is one that I adore, and that's when I realized that I found the best vanilla. It don't matter what other vanillas I smelled, this one to my nose, I realized that I discovered the best vanilla, and it is from the house of Xerjoff, and it is Xerjoff's Lyra. When I tell you guys that this is like my favorite vanilla fragrance of all time. Every single time I wear it, I think about me and my husband and me and my fragrance journey. I think about the first time I smelled this, it was a fragrance lover, just like you and me, that sent this to me. And she was a little iffy about it because she's like, not a lot of people like this fragrance, but this really was the best vanilla I've ever smelled. And honestly, I've smelled some nice vanillas, but I still go back to this one first. This next fragrance is one that I love, and this one, if you have seen me all summer of 2021, then in spring of 2021, then this is what I was wearing, and you would remember this. This was my signature scent for the spring and the summer of 2021, and it is Versace Eros EDT. Now you could tell definitely it was my scent, because I also got this year as well, and y'all, it was amazing. This was one that I would wear when I'm trying to go out with Mark, of course. This is what I would wear outside of wedding things, whenever I would go to rehearsal, whenever I would go out on a date with him real quick and I needed something very citrusy and sweet on a hot day. This is what I wore. I love Versace Eros. It's always going to remind me of the summer of 2021. This next fragrance is a niche fragrance, and of course, it is a mixture of niche and designer. But this one is called 100 Silent Ways, and it's from the house of NISHANE. Now you guys know I love NISHANE, but every single time I spray this, it reminds me of Sheree. Why? Because that's who gave this to me. I won this in one of her giveaways, and every single time I wear this, it reminds me of her. It reminds me of the giveaway, and it just gives me a booster, and it shows that there are some good people here in the fragrance community, even though there's a lot of people here on YouTube that don't really care about other YouTubers. It reminds me of Sheree because she's always giving me good words of encouragement. She's always in my inbox saying, girl, I see you, keep it pushing, I see you, I see. Like, she's very encouraging, and every single time I smell this fragrance, I think about her and I think about her good words. She is a woman of God, and it shows, and I truly appreciate her because she's more like a mentor, and she doesn't even know that, but she's very like down to earth, sweet. And every time I wear this, I think about her. And you know what's so funny? It's the people that you've never met that will encourage you the most. Let that sink in. The next fragrance is one that is very dear to my heart. It was the one that I wanted to wear for my birthday. And for some reason, during my birthday time, I wanted to smell like leather. Like, I just wanted to smell like leather. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. I had some leather fragrances, but I just wanted something new. And when I got this in the mail, I was just like, what? And it is Fragrance du Bois Miliano. This is my one and only Fragrance du Bois fragrance, and I love it. It is beautiful. This is a beautiful, oh, the caps are very strong. Oh my God, fruity, juicy leather. It smells like a smooth leather sprinkled with some juice in it. I love it. It's very beautiful, and it's gonna always remind me of the year I turned 26. The next fragrance is one from the house of MANCERA, and you guys know this is a fragrance that made me fall in love with the house, and this fragrance is my favorite from the house. Y'all know I love Roses Vanille, but not more than this. And this is Instant Crush. Now, yes, it couldn't have had no other name besides Instant Crush, because the moment I smelled it, I fell in love. This is my party scent. Whenever somebody invite me to a party or a dinner that I know that's gonna be high end and I want to blast, I want to smell real good. Honestly, if I want compliments, because I know this one's gonna give me compliments, there's not a time in the world that I wear this I don't get a compliment. I've never worn it for me to not get a compliment, which is crazy. Even though it's a kid, I will get a compliment. Like, I love it, and it pierced through the mask. Any and everybody would wear it. Someone came to my house and broke my bottle, and I had to get another one. Like, it was just that serious because I love this fragrance. The next fragrance is one that I love so much, of course, because it smells good, but this has amazing memories to it. And it is from the house of Xerjoff, and it is Xerjoff Naxos. Now, the reason why this one is very special and dear to my heart, because it smells good, one. And two, this is the fragrance that my husband wore on our wedding day. I love it. He smelled so good. He smelled delicious. He looked good. Like this fragrance right here. Every single time I smell it, or I smell it on him, or I smell it on someone else, which is very rare, but I smell something that's very close to this, I think about our wedding night, our wedding day. It just brings back that memory. I mean, y'all, the day was perfect. I wouldn't change nothing. And this fragrance is what he wore, and I love it for that. The next fragrance still has to do with the hubby. It's one that he wore throughout the whole time in our honeymoon. And when I tell y'all, the man was smelling good, okay? He smelled good, and he looked good too. Ugh. Take me back. It's from the house of NISHANE, and it is NISHANE's Hakivat. Now, let me tell y'all something about Hakivat. When Mark takes this and spray it on him, honey, I can't keep my hands to myself. I cannot be ladylike. I'll just be like, come here, baby. Okay? This is how I feel about this fragrance. Y'all know this is a beautiful burst of pineapple. Sexy. This is way better than Creative Ventus. The next fragrance that made this 2021 fragrance video is one that y'all have always seen. This is from the house of Kilian, and this is Kilian's Angel Shares. Now, aside from Instant Crush being my party scent, I had 2 party scents of the year, and it was either I'm wearing Instant Crush or I'm wearing Angel Shares. If you smelled me, if you went to 2 parties back to back, you smelled me. One of the parties I'm wearing Instant Crush, and then the next I'm wearing Angel Shares. Like, that's how it was. And these fragrances are beastly fragrances. You'll smell me a mile away. Heavy compliment getting. I love them. The next fragrance is one that I wore when I was feeling down. I was feeling sad because I can't have good days all the time. You have to have bad days. You're human, you know? And this one's from the house of Sergio Tant, and it is Au Bois Vanille. Now, Au Bois Vanille is a vanilla fragrance that has some coconut, some wax. It is very comforting. It's long lasting. It's not heavy on the projection. You will smell me if you're in my bubble. And the sillage is very, very beautiful. But this one is one that I wore on nights when I was feeling sad, and I remember my dad and stuff like that. It was just very comforting. It put me in that zen moment, and I love it. So the next fragrance is one from the house of Novatus Parfum. And this is one of the fragrances that I fell in love with, and it is Novatus Parfum's Idola. Now, Idola is from the Big Beard Business collection. Now, the reason why I adore this fragrance, every single time I smell it, I think about how Big Beard, out of all other YouTubers, decided to have little old me test out his fragrances. Like, what? There's bigger YouTubers out there that has bigger numbers, long time experience, but he decides to choose little old me. So every single time I smell this fragrance, I think about him giving me that chance. And if he can give me that chance, then I know that there's something out there for me. And that's when I realized, like, hey, what I'm doing on here is kind of serious. People actually are watching me. The next one is one that really did an impact on my social media, and it is from the house of Alhermaine, and it is Alhermaine L'Aventure Pour Femme. Now, I remember this is one that I posted on my TikTok and my Instagram, and it gave me a whole bunch of followings. And every single time I spray it, and I'm like, dang, this fragrance is really good. I was letting people know that they don't have to buy Creative Vintage for her because it's pricey. They want a bomb alternative, then this is it if you really like that fragrance. And that little video just had like thousands and thousands and thousands of views. It's almost at 1 million views here on TikTok. So this is always going to remind me of that. The next fragrance is one from the house of Jean Paul Gaultier, and it is Jean Paul Gaultier La Belle. Now, you guys know this fragrance. Y'all have seen it. If Abby was talking about any type of sexy date night, this is what I was wearing. Anytime I go on a date, which I didn't really go on too much dates because, you know, COVID, but anytime I was able to go on dates with my husband, this is what I was wearing. This is what I was wearing all vacation long when we went in October. This is what I was wearing all night, all day, and my husband loved it. Whenever you think about a sexy date night fragrance, think about this one and think about me right by it. So the next fragrance is one that was another comforting fragrance for me when I was feeling down, surprisingly, and I was having some really deep depression and thinking about my father a lot. This one is from the house of YSL, and it is YSL Libre EDT. Now, this one is one that I wore, like I said, whenever I was feeling down. I wore this at night, and it just uplifted me. You know, that lavender in this, and this one is the EDT, so it has lavender, it has some fruits in it, and you can tell I love it so much because I got the big bottle, and the other ones I got the small bottle. I love this fragrance. It just brought me back up again. It uplifted me, and I couldn't ask for a better uplifting fragrance. The next fragrance is one from the house of Tom Ford. This one is called Tom Ford Noir Pour Femme. Now, all 2021, if you invited me to a sophisticated date night or a serious birthday dinner or a serious gown style event or a wedding that is very like, this is what I wore. This was like my go-to special occasion fragrance. I love this fragrance. It is dark, it's sexy, it defines me. The colors alone is what I probably was wearing every single time I did wear this fragrance. I love it. And all 2021, if I was stepping out to something very classy and elegant, this is what I was wearing, and best believe it lasts all night long, and people really, really loved it on me. And the last fragrance, you guys, is one that is from the house of Tom Ford, and it is dear to my heart. I mean, like, very dear to my heart. And it is Tom Ford Orchid Soleil. Now, if you've been rocking with me, you know that this was my wedding day scent. This is the fragrance that I wore walking down the aisle. This is the fragrance that I wore while I was getting ready. This is the fragrance that I wore when my godfather prayed over my head and over my marriage. And this is the fragrance that I smelled in 2012 or I smelled it in 2016, 2015. And I said to myself, this was gonna be my wedding day scent. And I didn't even know if I was gonna be engaged. I didn't even know if I was with the right person. And I said, I don't care what it is. This is gonna be my wedding scent. I just was walking, broke Abby was walking in the mall, and I smelled that, and I would have never thought that I would be able to afford a Tom Ford fragrance. And that, now look at us now. I got over $600 worth of fragrances in my collection, in like 3 bottles. 3 bottles alone would be over $600. So these are all the 21 fragrances that had a huge impact in my life in 2021 or in 2020, and I adore them, and I wanted to share these 21 fragrances. And if you have any fragrances, it does not have to be 21, it could be 2, 3 that stamped a memory in your brain that you will always remember, go ahead and comment it down below. Guys, don't forget I will list all these fragrances in the description box below for you guys. Please, guys, don't forget that I will put all discounts if I do have any. Please don't forget that I do post every Tuesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please, 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 if you're watching, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please, please stay safe and keep on smelling fragrances. Bye.